When a wolf loses control, it does not attack. First, it hesitates. Then it moves at the wrong time. And no one has noticed it yet, because loss of control does not arrive with noise. On the contrary, it arrives with silence. The wolf still walks within the pack, but it is no longer being accounted for. No one challenges it. No one tries to warn it. Only the distance grows. If this feels familiar to you, it is not a coincidence, because humans are the same. Not loudly, but slowly, by becoming invisible. This is not a story of savagery. This is the story of how control collapses from the inside. And when you finally notice it, it is already too late. Welcome to my video. I'm James. In this video, I will talk about wolf psychology, the reasons behind their behaviors, and how closely animals' inner drives resemble those of humans. Without further delay, let's begin. Enjoy. Wolf packs do not function through displays of power or constant aggression. What holds their structure together is something far more delicate. Self-regulation. Each individual operates within a braking system that is psychological before it is physical. The alpha pair does not enforce order through violence, they maintain it through presence, through the withdrawal of attention, through subtle adjustments of space and distance. A lower-ranking wolf does not learn its place by being beaten. It knows because it has internalized the boundaries of acceptable behavior. This map is not genetic. It is learned, reinforced, and kept alive through thousands of micro-interactions that take place within the pack every single day. When wolves hunt, they do not attack uncontrollably. Young wolves wait. They carefully observe experienced hunters as they position themselves. They almost completely suppress the impulse to chase too early, to waste energy without purpose. This suppression is not instinctual. It is discipline. We are talking about a pack and a mind that is learned to delay gratification. It is the product of a nervous system capable of reading social signals, placing group survival above individual impulse. Wolf that cannot regulate itself in this way becomes excess both in the pack and in life. It startles the prey, breaks coordination, exhausts the pack unnecessarily. Over time, the pack begins to exclude this wolf, not through open punishment, but through positioning. Yes, just like in humans, the wolf first remains at the edge of the formation, then behind it, then watching from a distance. Humans call this a downward fall. The psychological cost of maintaining control remains invisible until it is. GONEA. Healthy wolf moves through the world in its own way. Almost every wolf has distinct behavioral traits. Alert, but not anxious. Withdraws, but does not give up. Competes, but retreats the moment it understands it will lose. This balance requires immense internal regulation. The wolf constantly analyzes its environment, reads the emotional states of pack members, adjusts its own level of arousal, and makes moment-to-moment decisions about when to advance and when to pull back. This is not a passive process. It is active, continuous, and exhausting. The wolf's brain works relentlessly to keep the system from tipping into either collapse or explosion. Yes, just like in humans, defense mechanisms, personality, temperament, character dynamics, they all function exactly this way. This seems to be one of life's laws. From the outside, When we observe a wolf pack, we see order and harmony. It looks almost accidental, as if the animals simply move together naturally. What we don't see is the internal effort required to produce that order. Constant monitoring, self-correction, preventing behaviors that could destabilize the group. These are the hidden parts of the process. No one notices the wolf that begins to lose this capacity. The small regulatory errors that precede collapse go completely unseen. Things only become visible at one point, when the wolf is no longer part of the formation. By then, the breakdown has already begun. Loss of control is not an event. It is a process, and it starts long before anyone notices. In life, signals appear well before any major event occurs. People simply notice them too late. Is recognizing this a skill or intelligence? Debatable, but if you ask me, it is simply the law of life. Life is not merciful. Control does not disappear suddenly. It fades slowly, often without anyone realizing it. Even a short separation from the pack causes a wolf to show signs of dysregulation. Sleep patterns change. They disappear psychologically. The wolf enters a constant state of scanning, analyzing the environment for threats that may not even exist. The absence of social structure removes the external protection that keeps internal order alive. Without predictable interactions that define behavioral boundaries, the wolf's nervous system begins to deteriorate. The wolf does not forget how to regulate itself. Regulation requires context. When that context disappears, the entire structure collapses. Hunger accelerates this process dramatically. Well-fed wolf can delay almost everything. It can wait for the optimal moment. A hungry wolf cannot. Hunger replaces planning. Behavioral control weakens severely. The wolf becomes reactive, not responsive. It begins chasing prey it would normally ignore. Takes risks it would never take otherwise. This is not a rational choice. It is survival circuitry, overtaking regulation beneath conscious awareness. The wolf does not choose to lose control. It is pushed into a state where control is no longer accessible, and this is when things truly begin to go wrong. Injury or trauma adds another layer to the collapse. Pain is a signal that constantly demands attention. It makes focus extremely difficult. An injured wolf cannot participate in social behaviors, cannot join hunts, cannot give or read the subtle signals that sustain hierarchy. Other wolves begin to distance themselves, not out of cruelty. They do not attack. They simply create space. Just like humans, people rarely hit each other. They exclude. The injured wolf feels this exclusion long before any confrontation. Its position is falling, and it falls so fast there is no time to resist. When the wolf realizes it has lost its competence and potential, the collapse is already complete. Loss of status is not dramatic, it is quiet. A wolf that once held a position realizes that the position is no longer recognized. Others act as if it does not exist. No one challenges it because it is no longer seen as relevant. This is more damaging than conflict. Conflict, at least, confirms existence. Invisibility is devastating. For animals, for humans, the wolf remains with the group, but it is no longer the same wolf. It is no longer consulted, not included in decisions, not part of direction or intent. It is now on the periphery, and the periphery is a slow erasure. Psychologically, the wolf continues to deteriorate. The rules that once governed behavior stopped working. Previously rewarded behaviors are ignored. They no longer mean anything. Attempts to regain status are met with nothing. The wolf cannot find stable ground. It oscillates between trying to reintegrate and withdrawing further. It is stuck in between. The wolf is not losing its mind. It is losing the framework that allows the mind to function coherently. Without that framework, everything becomes noise. And here is the truth. The mechanisms that govern wolf psychology are not unique to wolves. The human nervous system operates under the same principles. The human maintains psychological stability through continuous internal labor, monitoring social cues, suppressing inappropriate impulses, regulating emotional responses, sustaining a coherent sense of social position. This is exhausting. It requires energy, attention, and a stable external context. When that context fractures, the regulatory system comes under pressure. Chronic stress produces a collapse nearly identical to what we see in isolated or injured wolves. The body remains in a constant state of alarm. Resources meant for repair are diverted to threat response. Sleep becomes shallow. Attention fragments. Reactions intensify. This is not a character flaw. It is a nervous system pushed beyond its capacity. People do not choose to lose control. They experience a systemic failure of the mechanisms that prevent it. Loss of identity in humans mirrors loss of status in wolves. A person stripped of their role, professional, social, parental, experiences deep disorientation. They continue living, but no longer know where they belong. Others begin interacting differently. Invitations fade. Conversations shorten. Not rejection, just diminishing. Relevance. This is more damaging than open rejection. Burnout is the human equivalent of a wolf that can no longer hunt. Life continues, but the internal resources required to function are gone. When collapse becomes visible, recovery has already become extremely difficult. Loss of control is a private emergency unfolding in public. A wolf that fully loses control is not rehabilitated by the pack. There is no second chance. Distance increases. Silence grows. Eventually, the wolf stops following. Whether this is a choice or acceptance is unclear. What happens next is rarely observed because excluded. Wolves become invisible. They do not survive long alone. They are erased from the record. Observers see a functioning pack. They do not see who was quietly removed. The same pattern exists among humans. Those who lose control are not punished. They are no longer included. This is not cruelty. It is a system protecting itself from instability. Control matters only while it is maintained. Once lost, little effort is made to restore it. This is not morality, it is structure. What remains is a silent truth. Control is the invisible foundation of social existence. We never notice it until it's gone. And when we see someone without it, we step back. The world does not stop. It simply continues without you. This is the end of my first video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and perspectives in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Wishing you excellent times. James Morden.